You may have heard of Boursin cheese. It is a spreadable, delicious, herby and garlic cheese that is perfect on crackers and goes on all kinds of other dishes. Well, guess what? I can't find it where I live, so I had to make my own. Welcome to The Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today's recipe is super simple. It is a garlic and herb cheese that tastes very similar to the Boursin cheese that you may be familiar with. The Boursin cheese is called for in a lot of recipes. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so delicious. It's also great just spread on a cracker. But since I can't find it where I live, I have to make my own. And it's, oh my gosh, even better, I think. All right, so all you need is a mixer, whether it's a stand mixer or you have a handheld mixer and a bowl. That's all you need. 8 ounces of cream cheese that has been softened. So I let it sit at room temperature until it's soft. You do not want to put it in the microwave, okay? Because you don't want to get that, you don't want it melted. It'll have the wrong consistency. So that's 8 ounces. Now, of course, if you're making this for a crowd, you could double, triple, quadruple. You can make as much or as little as you want. And then we have 2 tablespoons of butter. Get all that butter out there. That just adds this richness. Oh my gosh, it's so good. A half of a teaspoon of minced garlic, which is about 1 to 2 cloves, depending on their size, okay? All right, now don't add too much minced garlic in. A half of a teaspoon is all I recommend to begin with because it is raw and it is pungent. Now at the end, when you mix up your cheese and you give it a little taste, as I encourage you to do, if you want it a little more garlicky, add in a little bit more at a time until it's to the garlic flavor that you like. Now, if you don't have minced garlic, you can absolutely use garlic powder, but you are gonna need a little bit more garlic powder. So just do that to taste. Start off with maybe a half of a teaspoon and do that to taste. All right, the next set of herbs, because this is a garlic and herb cheese spread, we have several different herbs in here and some salt and a little sugar. The salt is a 1/4 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt, or you could use kosher salt. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of dried dill. If you wanted to use fresh dill, that's perfectly fine. I would just go ahead and double it. So I would do a half of a teaspoon. We have a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and that offsets the bitterness of the garlic. I found it necessary, but you can omit that and add it at the end if you want to try it without the sugar first. And then I also have a half of a teaspoon of fresh thyme because I happen to have some in my garden. You could use thyme leaves that are dried. You would use a 1/4 of a teaspoon. Don't use ground thyme though. That's totally different. It's going to really throw everything off. Use either fresh, half of a teaspoon of fresh thyme or a 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves. All right, we're gonna put those in. And then the next thing I add in are finely diced green onions or chives, either one works fine, about a tablespoon. Only the green part though. I don't put in the white part, it's a little too pungent, I find. And then we're gonna lower our mixer, lock it into place, and we're just gonna blend it up, okay? We wanna whip it up so it's a nice, smooth consistency. All right, that looks great. Now scrape down the sides and get to the bottom. Just make sure it's really well mixed. And that looks really, really good. Now, what I encourage you to do is take a little taste, okay? Taste for seasonings. Make sure you don't need any salt or anything else. Make sure it's not too bitter. Oh, that's so good. You can really taste that garlic though, so please don't think, oh, I love garlic. I'm gonna add in, 1, 2, 3 teaspoons. It's gonna overpower it, I promise you. All right. Now, you could certainly serve it just like this, okay, with some crackers. Just throw it into a bowl with a little, serving knife and throw some crackers on a plate and you're done. But if you want to go old school, into the 1970s and 80s, you want to make a cheese mold, we can do that too. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So let's go ahead and get this all off of the paddle. One other thing I do want to say is that sometimes people put Parmesan cheese in theirs, and you absolutely can. finely grated Parmesan cheese, or you could use Parmesan cheese powder too if you want. I didn't find that it needed it. So if a recipe doesn't need it, I don't tend to put it in. I thought it was delicious just as it is. Jeff thought it was better than the Boursin cheese because he actually found some in Mississippi where I can't find it where I shop in Tennessee. They don't carry it at that grocery store. So what you want to do is take about a cup container or so and line it with plastic wrap, fill it with your cheese spread, and I usually leave a little bit left in the bowl because I'll grab a cracker and I'll taste it. Now press it down and make sure you get any air bubbles out because we want this to be, a mold that goes all the way down and comes out looking pretty. So I'm gonna press it all the way down, make sure there's no air bubbles. And we put it in the refrigerator for a few hours to set up. Oh my gosh. All right, that's it. So I'm gonna put this into the refrigerator for a few hours and then we will turn it out onto our platter, get some crackers and give it a taste. So after your cheese is in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, now we can go ahead and take it out and we'll have this cute little mold like we used to do back in the day, right? They've kind of gotten away from cheese balls and cheese molds, but you know what? I think this one kind of lends itself to being in a mold. When you get it out of the box, when you buy it in the store, it's in a little mold. Now this one I think is a little bit creamier. The other one, the actual Boursin tends to crumble. This one's gonna be a little bit creamier, which is why I like it better. So just spread your crackers around like that and dig in. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. It's perfect. It's garlicky, and I mean garlicky. So if you don't like garlic, omit it or cut it way back, okay? If you're a garlic lover, you are gonna love this. Please do not add too much or it's gonna be way overpowering. This is on the verge of being too garlicky for me. That could just be the freshness of the garlic bulb that I use too. So feel free to start out with half as much and add more if needed. But oh my gosh, this is so delicious. So next time you want a flavorful, creamy cheese spread, make this one.